this is Experiential 16. I used all three of the rhythms in my two rhythms that I created. So the first one is gun, dun, go, do, pa. And those are, it's quarter, quarter, eighth, eighth quarter. So it's gun, dun, go, do, pa. And then the second measure is, go, do, pa, gun, go, do. So it's dun, 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 go, do, pa, go, do, pa, gun, go, do. And then the second rhythm is pa, go, do, gun, dun, go, pa, pa, go, do, gun, dun. Sorry. Pa, go, do, gun, dun. I can't read it, I'm sorry. Pa, go, do, gun, dun, go, pa, pa, go, do, gun, dun. It's kind of complex, it's kind of weird. I don't have another person with me right now. This is the only time I'm able to do this. So I kind of created the two different rhythms to be different from each other on purpose because of that. So the first one I wrote goes up and then goes kind of up, down, up. The second one I wrote is almost exactly the opposite. It goes down and then it's in the middle, it goes up and then back down. So if we were to have somebody play these two together, I think they would complement each other because they're contrasting, but they might not because we have an open sound where there's a pa on a quarter note, which is a longer note, so that might not sound so great. So that'd be like, or it's kind of hard to do it on the same drum, but you have quarter and then you have a lower quarter and then you have a shorter rested almost eighth note. So I'm not sure how those two would sound together. Probably not so great, but I think the contrast of one line going kind of up in pitch and then another one going down would kind of complement each other. Let's see. So I can't really answer the discussion questions very well because I didn't play it with someone else. But I do think they would complement each other. Number two, I did chat with my mom about the discussion questions. She's not very educated in music, but she knows a little bit from what I've been doing. It's hard to communicate to her the difference in the pitch of the sound. She doesn't necessarily hear a difference between the open and the closed. She hears that it's shorter, which it is, but in terms of fullness, she doesn't hear a difference because. So I tell her it's a slap, so I tell her to think of slapping it, but not with your full hand. She definitely hears a difference between this and this, but it was harder for her at first, primarily because of me, because I wasn't playing it the greatest. I was playing it like this, with the same part of my hand as here, so there wasn't much of a difference, but after I showed her a little bit more, she was able to understand it a bit better. Let's see, I didn't play in a group for number 3. How may group play in relation to sharing set rhythms be useful in a therapeutic setting? I think it's important for everybody to share their own creations. So, playing someone else's rhythm can help them, maybe understand if it's a really speedy, lots of low tones, they might express something a little more angry or depressing or sad than something really high and kind of fun. And who knows, maybe putting those two together, kind of like my composition was down to up and then up to down for each different line I did. So maybe playing those two low and depressing ones and that really high, faster rhythm might be kind of fun to experiment with. But I think group play is very important so that it creates more of a bond between the group in your therapeutic setting. And then number 4, how might you expand the sounds created on the drum? What percussion actions might help this expansion, and which common or uncommon sounds might you omit in certain settings? So I'm going to start with the last one, which common or uncommon sounds might you omit in certain settings. If I'm working with a child who has sensitivity to a higher pitch, I might use more of this. I would use less of this because it's more of an open tone that might irritate them. Expanding sounds created on the drum. I was just kind of messing around there, but I would do maybe something like this. You could use your nails. A lot of the KPAS stuff, using your hands, your palms, more pressure versus less pressure. I really like this one actually. So it would kind of depend on where. You don't even have to use the drum head. What percussion actions might help this expansion? So the KPAS sounds. So I think that concludes my Experiential 16. I'm sorry I didn't have another person with me. Yeah.